And all right, the recording is in progress right now. Hello, hello, hello. This is another episode of the Mental Threads Podcast, episode 76. I am here with Don Julio from New York, if you like to say something.
What's up? What's up? Stay Zen. It's Don Julio from Bronx, New York, uptown. Checking in, showing love. How you doing?
No, man, I appreciate you for hopping on. It's been crazy and everything, trying to get things together and get the whole Zoom together and everything. I had to create a whole nother Zoom and everything meeting. It's all a bunch of stupid shit. But it's like, bro, when I tell you, it's like listening to your music videos from Playing Chess, Lemon Pepper Freestyle, the New York Giants. My favorite one was Play of the Season and everything. Not for the features. It's just like, I like how the beat goes now, the flow, y'all was flowing all together and everything. But yeah, man, like, well, what are some things that inspire you to drop such fire, man? Like in your own words.
Honestly, it stems from I'm from New York, so like obviously everybody knows like the Bronx started hip hop, so I come from the borough that started rap. So growing up, that was like a cultural thing. Like everybody rapped, and if you was outside, like you couldn't rap if you wasn't like really nice at rap. So I grew up around like a bunch of older dudes rapping that took it a lot serious than I guess this generation would do. So I grew up knowing that like, yo, if I can't rap, then they're not gonna let me rap. So I had to work on my pen and work on, actually being a lyricist. And then from there I had to learn how to make music. So everything's just a step-by-step progression process for me and my team. And we just trying to continue growing.
Yeah, man, no, keep growing for real, man. You'll be touching skyscrapers pretty soon, man, for sure. Because it's just, I know like how the game is kind of watered down to a certain degree, but I feel like in the 2020s, the beauty about where we're at in this era right now is like, a lot of the greats like, Kendrick and J. Cole and Drake, I don't feel like their time is like coming to an end, but I feel like a lot of them are trying to like settle in now. They're starting their own families and stuff of that nature. All three of them now have kids now, which is crazy. So it's just like, it's just like their era. I don't want to say it's like it's closing in a sense, like, like, oh, they're just getting more washed up or anything. But I feel like, they're starting to like their focuses are trying to like point to somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? And
I definitely agree.
Yeah.
I feel like what you're saying is there's like a changing of a guard happening because they're still in the game, but they're part of what I would consider like the older generation now. So there's always going to be new artists that are looking to take those slots, and I agree with you in the sense that I think that in the next 10 years in hip hop, there will be a lot more artists trying to make conscious or more lyrical music, and it all fluctuates. So there has to be another time where like the 90s happen again. Everything goes in cycles. So I'm just like I said, like you mentioned earlier before we went live, that my music has that element to it, but it also sounds very modern. So I'm prepared for whenever that shift happens, but I can also make music with the kids that are making music today and that kind of style as well.
Yeah, no, for real. No, seriously. And those are the rappers that get the farthest. Everybody wants to try and sound the same and everything. And all they're doing is just scoring themselves for fast money, man. And there's not a whole lot of longevity that comes with that. Like, you see what happened with the Lil Pumps and everything and stuff of that nature. It's like they're always on some weird shit, like the next moment to try and stay relevant. And it's like, and you don't got to do none of that and everything to really stay relevant. Just get better and get better, and then put the best music out. Like 21 Savage might be like my favorite one out of that 2016 freshman, because like freshman class, because he just kept getting like better and better and better and better to the point where he'll pretty much save a song now. Like
I'm not gonna lie, I agree with you completely. I think 21 Savage actually slept on, and they put him in a box like he's some kind of gangster mumble rapper. But if you hear him on songs with actual people with talent like J. Cole or Drake, he actually holds his own very well. And I feel like he can actually make really great music and concise songs that are not just people perceive him to be like gangster, stupid songs, but they're actually very intellectual to me.
And it ain't a matter of like being like the most intellectual, because everybody just goes in their own like lane, but being like the best of like you can do. And I feel like 21 Savage improved so much to the point where now I feel like he kind of carries people on their own songs to a certain degree. It's like,
no, I agree.
Yeah,
I think the only time that he even on a song like the artists that I mentioned with like Drake and J. Cole, those like we said earlier, those are like J. Cole, Drake, and Kendrick are like the pioneers of like the three guys who held it in the last 10 years. So if you could get on a track with them and people don't think that they destroyed you or like you held your own, that's impressive, you know?
Yeah, no, really, no, for real. I feel like 21 Savage and Lil Baby are kind of they're in the same boat to that regard. Whereas like their features, like not just made with like other seasoned artists, just makes the song a whole lot better. Like out of like Drake's new album and everything, I haven't listened to like all of it, but the one main song I was focused for was the 21 Savage song, which was the last song on that last album and everything. So it's just like I had that song on repeat the whole time. So it's hard for me to even shit on that album because I haven't listened to the whole album. I've been stuck on just that one song and everything, you know. And 21 Savage just like his style is now it's just like it kind of just mixes in with everybody else's style pretty well now. Like that's a level of being like a great like, you know, artist where it's just like your style, although it's your style, it can like mesh well with like all types of style, like Lil Baby does also. So it's just like, you know, it's just, you know, I'd be looking forward to them 21 Savage features myself now and everything. But in regards to like, you know, stepping away from that, we want to focus more on you and everything, you the artist. You know, like how I mentioned before this, you kind of remind me a whole lot about Big Pun and hold elements of like Big L and everything. Have they influenced like your style or just your love for music by any sense or to any degree?
Yeah, it's crazy that you choose those two in particular because those are actually two of the people who influence me the most when it comes from at least for the New York culture is definitely I'll have to put Jay-Z number one, but definitely Big Pun and Big L because I'm from Uptown. So if you know anything about like regions in New York, Big Pun actually comes from the South Bronx, which is where I'm from, and then Big L is from Harlem, and my family's from Harlem. My family's actually from the west side of Harlem, which is where Big L is from. So, like his mural that's really popular and everybody goes when they come to New York. I used to see that all the time, visiting my family. And, you know, I'm Dominican and Puerto Rican. So, there's not a lot of really dope Dominican and Puerto Rican rappers that made it to such a high level as like a Big Pun, you know? So, he's like the guy that every, I guess, Latino rapper like emulates because he got to the highest point in that lane, you know?
Yeah, I don't even see him as like a Latino rapper. He's just a damn good rapper that happens to be Latino. You know, I feel like his skills speak for himself. You know, although the culture really does, you know, it always carries with you, regardless and everything. You're always going to be symbiotically connected with your culture and everything. I feel like Big Pun is like just a damn good lyricist overall, and everything. Like the songs like super lyrical and everything, and Beware and everything, and just all that on the Capital Punishment. Like I swear, like, Capital Punishment is like one of those projects where you have to study that project if you really want to induce like what it means to be truly, truly lyrical and stuff of that nature. So it's just like, you know, yeah.
The pockets that they choose to rap in, like by that I mean like the flows and like when they choose to speed it up. Like Big L used to do that all the time. He would just say like regular cadence, like kind of like he's talking, then he'll speed it up. So like those kind of pockets and stuff very influenced me as far as like, you know, rhyme scheme and like open up my mind to like, okay, maybe I could rap like this or like that instead of just like, you know, the basic regular standard form of rapping, which is just like, you know, line punchline type thing. So I leaned on those type of guys and Jay-Z to like help me broaden my vocabulary and my flow patterns.
Yeah, man, vocabulary is really, really deep, but it's also good to like be very, very clever on the mic too. And like Big L was like a figurehead of being just super clever, man. I swear, Big L. Every time I think about the shit like Big L says and everything, it makes you want to just keep going back. Like, dang, I need to hear that one more time. Like, how did he come up with that? Like, it's just like I remember. It's like my favorite Big L line is just. Like, I know this is like one of my favorite Big L line like from his freestyles is like, "Ask Beavis, I get nothing but head," and it's just like, whoa.
Yeah, that's the '95 freestyle
with Jay-Z, right?
Yeah, facts. He said there's another line in that freestyle that I think is people sleep on it. He said, "I'm so ahead of my time, my parents haven't met yet."
Yeah, that's another one. Bro. I really wish. I hate like a lot of our favorite rappers are dead, bro, before their time, bro.
Yeah,
you really want to see where they go.
I hate that a lot of these new rappers are dying too. You know, being a rapper, I was just talking about this with somebody the other day. Being a rapper is dangerous, like especially in today's day and age. Like if you choose to be a rapper, you also got to be aware of what that comes with.
Yeah, man, because the jealousy shit is real. You don't even have to be a gangster in a gang to get murdered. I mean, I know XS Tentacion got shot in the face just because he had a So a bag full of money and everything. And I just feel that's still kind of fishy to a certain degree, because it's just like, every rapper has money, and it's just like, but it's like, you can't just shoot somebody in the face. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like people do fraud, people do other types of scams and everything, but it's just like, I don't know, that just doesn't seem like the kind of, like, I just feel like there was jealousy behind it, as opposed to
it's
like,
definitely an internet era thing too, because in the 90s, for example, like the reason why so many rappers weren't dying and we had a bunch of rappers become old rappers that they are now is because you didn't know where they were, what they were doing 24/7. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of these new age rappers, they super into social media. So like if you was a crazy dude who, is really popped right now in New York, that means like you broke. So if you was like broke and like you really like thirsty for something to that level, it's easier nowadays to like be like, okay, this rapper's in my town, he's over here. I could do whatever. Like before, people wasn't so out there with all this information. You couldn't just follow somebody that easy.
yeah, man, and that's what got Pop Smoke like killed, man. Just one slip up of where his address was, and somebody knew exactly where he was, and they found him, and he was killed by like what, a 17-year-old, or was it like a 16-year-old?
Yeah, it was. It's. I'm not gonna lie, and that's the thing too. Like people be thinking like rappers is dying by these savages, gangsters outside in their 30s. It'd be little kids. It'd be like 16, 17-year-old kids who got none to lose and they think this is their whole life, you know?
Yeah, man, it's shitty, man. I don't know what's up with the youth, man. Because I recall, like, back in the day, not back in a couple years ago, but my one cousin, my much younger cousin, killed my other cousin and everything. I remember it was like a situation where, my older cousin was like literally trying to chaperone a party for his younger brother, and he just told my younger cousin that just came up to him and everything, like, hey, I want to bring all my friends in. What's up with it? And it's like, nah, you can't. I won't let you in because I only know you personally. And he just didn't take it well, and he just killed him, trying to
Killed his own cousin?
yeah, just to get a name for himself, man. And I tell you, like, this kid, I knew him from like elementary school and everything. Like, I'm Liberian, so it's like, our like tribe and like culture, we're pretty close type to a certain degree. Where it's like, you ain't gotta be blood related to be like cousins. Once you see each other like for a while and everything, y'all parents are probably friends, or you pretty much grew up together. You're basically cousins. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it's like a family friend, but that's still sick as hell,
It's
man.
still fucked up, man. And it's he's in jail to this day. Imagine trying to impress like your friends trying to kill a family member, and it's like they come, you try to run back to them, and they shoot you right in the gut. Like, that's literally what happened, bro.
Yeah, it's a crazy time now.
It's I don't know what's up with these days, man. I would say, is it a gun violence thing? Because we've been had guns for years, man. But it's just like something about nowadays. Something's just not right in the water.
Yeah,
Bro.
it's just the world, man. We in a different time now. I'd be saying the same thing. Like it's not. I don't think it's one specific thing. I just feel like the floodgates opened up on everything because I feel like the the government and the way the America is structured is just like there's really no really any rules. Like you can really do anything, and then it's up to them if they catch you or not. A lot of these kids be thinking they can get away with anything. They'll take it to court or whatever the case is. So people really think they could do whatever they want and just pay a lawyer, and then they won't go to jail.
Yeah, man, it's like that's not necessarily the case every time, bro. Like, when I tell you, my younger cousin really thought he was gonna get out scot free over that, and he didn't. Like, it was just sad because I feel like he could have just went back home to Liberia to kind of get his mind right. Then maybe he could be more focused, because people without purpose, bro, always fuck shit up for everybody. Like,
Exactly.
when you have no purpose at all, that's why it's like I do the podcast, I do the music thing and everything. I went to college and I got my degree and stuff of that nature, but it's all because I have a purpose. I was driven by purpose, like a vision where I could see all my younger cousins, my little baby cousins, like I was looking out for today and everything to give them a better life. So like when they go to high school and middle school, they don't have to wear all the bullshit and everything. I had to go to school clown over shit. Like I was like, this ain't this tacky type shit. This is like cheap shit and everything. But I still kept my head up in whatever the world it is. Like I want to envision like a world where there can be like, where everything they can be taken care of. My older family members can be taken care of. I can buy my mom a house. These visions play out very vividly, and I feel like all I have to do is just step out to make it happen. So it's just like, there's enough money out here for everybody, bro. You do not have to shoot somebody in the face for it.
You're
Like,
definitely right though. It's because a lot of them don't have direction or like a future ahead of them as far as like what do you want to do? What do you see yourself as? Like you said, you got your podcast and you went to school, so you started to have like a direction where you want to go to achieve your goals. You know, I do the music, so even though I grew up in New York, where at times it could be very treacherous, the music has always comforted me and always gave me a sense of this is what I should be doing instead of doing something dumb. You know.
Yeah, man, it gives you purpose. It's healing and everything. You know, a lot of people in the rap game come from some kind of tragedy or something where it's just like music, in a sense, gave us hope or gave us purpose or and direction to a certain degree. And so it's just like, it's really sad that a lot of people end up like not taking it serious. Like maybe they want it for clout, and when someone does really, really good, they just can't seem to like accept that. Or it's just like, they just get pissy over that. Like niggas be getting more jealous than bitches do nowadays, and it's weird. It's
Yeah, it's a
just
weird
very,
time.
very weird. It's a very, very weird time. I feel like dudes are getting way too more effeminate. It's like forget all like the pride, Lil Nas. I don't care about that. I mean like day to day, like people like we like.
I agree, but you want to know why though? Men are getting more feminine because of feminism. It was really that women made us more feminine because back when, you know how women be like, why can't men be like the way they used to be and they want us to be more masculine? Is because back then women allowed men to be men. Now that there's so much feminism and everything got to be equal, men are becoming more submissive to the women's role. So you're seeing less dominant male figures because women are in more control of things, which is fine. I respect them for getting, where they wanted to be with this sort of like equality, but there's always a cause and effect to that.
Yeah, actually, that's probably like the most like diverse, like way of putting it I've heard in a minute. Because I always knew that feminism had its toxicity in regards to our society, but when you put it like that, I can actually see it now. Because there'll be dudes that be trying to be like male feminists and everything, and trying to like try to get some pussy off that.
More emotional, because now we're trying to conform to this new world where, and if we're being real about where the world is right now, and where ideology, as far as like what everybody believes, it's really for what women's rights and the LBGT whatever community. So like straight men who are manly men are not really, the world's not for them right now. So that's why you're seeing a bunch of submissive, like feminine type dudes, because they're fitting into what society's agenda is right now.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. It seems like a lot of that is just like, it's like this image of like what a man should really be. Everything always seems kind of unrealistic. Like you can't like have like effeminate features and be like masculine at the same time.
Yeah.
No, but at the same time, there's still masculine and feminine energies and everybody, but it's at different balances. To work. You can still be a man and still be like compassionate and still be like
it's about finding the right balance.
It's finding the right balance.
Sometimes it's about finding the people who bring that right balance out of you, because sometimes if you're a dominant man, maybe you shouldn't try to be with a woman who is more dominant than you. She might make you submissive, So you also got to find a good balance and people that actually match what you're trying to be and who you're trying to be. Because if you conform yourself to others, it'll change.
Oh yeah, no, I believe that to a certain degree too. But it's just like, even when dealing with like a dominant woman, I feel like that's up to the man to bring that feminine, that more feminine nature out of her. You know what I'm saying? Because at the same time, how our society was kind of set up and everything, especially with black women on the plantation, like they had to fend for themselves. This society has like emasculated, especially black men, to such a degree where it's like it's almost frail. Like a white dude can leave a fight or whatever, and like no part of his masculinity or manhood is even like under attack. You know what I mean? Like nobody.
Yeah, I do know what you mean. And it's a pressurized thing too, because as minorities, I'm gonna throw myself. I'm Dominican and Puerto Rican, so I'm gonna throw myself into what you're saying. As a minority, when you're not in those type of situations, it's almost the pressure of you to be like, you got to handle this, or you got to come out on top of this situation. Like a lot of other, like for example, a white man doesn't have that pressure. If he gets into a fight, and let's just be real, if he gets into a fight with a black man or a Spanish man, 9 times out of 10, a Latino man, the crowd of people watching are going to assume that white dude's going to get his ass beat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's why it's a lot of it's pressure on us to always come out as the dominant winner, the person who puts
the
his
apex
foot down and all this stuff.
Like the apex.
We gotta be the apex, the superior all the time, and that's a lot of pressure to always be. You have to be the top dog all the time. Like why?
Yeah, to the point where it's just like where it's kind of unrealistic to a certain degree, you know, like the whole like you remember when Logan Paul whatever got in a fight with a boxing match with that basketball player, and dude thought he was just gonna kick his ass and everything. That was just gonna be it. But like this dude's like a whole athlete and everything, like that's been fighting his whole life, and like you're a basketball player that just went into fighting, and dude really thought because he was black he was gonna kick his ass.
Yeah, and
And then
that's the only reason why they clown him, because he's white. So like for example, if he was literally any other race, like if he was a Latino or a black man and he just decided to box and he was like, y'all want to fight people, just off of him wanting to, like Kimbo Slice, for example, look how serious everybody took him, and then he became a UFC fighter. Like it's a certain like how do I say it? Like they put like a certain like stigma on it based on who you are and what you look like. Even me, for example, I'm Dominican, Puerto Rican, but my skin tone is more fair skin. So sometimes when people don't hear me talk, or when they see me in certain like ciphers or rap things that I go to, they wouldn't assume that I'm about to spaz the way that I do. And then afterwards, they'd be like, "Damn, you like caught me off guard." You know what I'm saying? Because their expectation was for me to like do some soft like shit that they wouldn't like. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like that whole stigma about like light skinned dudes being like softer and dark skinned dudes being more aggressive and everything. And I met like plenty light skinned dudes who really would kick somebody's ass like for real shit and everything.
Now,
I met
yeah,
some dark skinned dudes that are soft though and were bitch made to a certain degree too.
I met some dark skinned dudes that are not even soft, but they don't even like to fight. They're like pacifists. They're like woke on some like y'all don't even do shit like that.
Yeah, and it's just like it's just these weird stigmas like this is kind of what's laid in our society, man. But it's just like that's just kind of how it is. To a certain degree. And like in a hip hop sphere, like everything is more hyper masculine, hyper aggressive, hyper sexualized, and everything. Whereas like every other genre, it's just a reflection of art. You know what I'm saying? Like country music, rock music, or whatever. I feel like those genres, it's just them. Whereas like for hip hop, it's just constant bragging and everything. There's more like versatility nowadays and everything, but at the same token, like this is still like the same genre where people still
You know what I noticed now that you brought that up as far as other genres of music. This is something I noticed that I'm glad that I'm on a podcast so I could publicly say, and then people can have their opinions on this.
Yeah.
But you know how rappers they use a rapper's content, like their lyrics and their songs against them. I've never seen that happen in another genre.
No, really. No, because like, yeah, really. No, dead ass. They could probably use something like from Marilyn Manson or something. I think they actually kind of do to a certain degree.
But like they've never like even the rock and roll dudes or the punk rock guys who make really dark music, maybe even referencing like suicide or murder a lot of times. That's viewed as like creative license, like they're just being creative. But anytime we talk about what we go through on a day-to-day basis, whether we seen it, experienced it, as long as we express it in our music, it's taken as a literal thing. Like anything we say, whatever we said, they're gonna say, you said this, so this is what you meant, regardless of what we really meant to say.
Yeah, man, no, it's really shitty, man, no, for real. And it's just like especially with the whole what's your stance on this whole Young Thug situation?
I think that first of all, free YSL. Free Young Thug, free Gunna, free all of them. I think that I think Young Thug in particular is a great example of what happens to somebody who grew up in poverty and has a dream to make something big. And then on top of that, not only is he selfishly trying to do it for himself, but he puts on literally anybody he knows that has potential to be great themselves so they can help their family and their communities. I think that Young Thug is what hip hop is supposed to be. Just like Nipsey Hussle and a lot of people, yeah, his music may be different in a different scheme of things as far as he's not super lyrical or whatever the case is. But as a man and as an entrepreneur, he's handling his business, and I have nothing but respect for that.
No, dead ass. Because YSL they try to make it out like it's a gang, but he really hired a lot of people and changed a lot of people's lives for real.
You wonder why it's a gang to them? Because they're all black.
Exactly. Exactly. Couldn't even put it in the best way possible. That's literally what it is, man. But it's like they don't even try to like make it like, subtle nowadays. You know what I'm saying? And that's what kind of like takes me out about it. Like it's just like, they could do all of that for that, but it's like from all the like skinhead groups and everything that make music too. and everything, and probably do their things and everything. They don't even like
You
aim at
you
people
wanna
like that.
why the you wanna why that bothers me so much that it's automatically labeled a gang? Because not only does he have his own business and record label with the exact mantra YSL Young Stoner Lifestyle, so it literally is a company, but like it's a business. So not only does he have that, he has the merch, he has other avenues where he's using that name and he's branding it in different elements that for you to think that's gang related is you're being
Asinine,
racist at that point.
asinine, and racist as hell. Because it says young stoner life. Like that doesn't even sound like a gang.
Yeah,
Like,
and but it's literally a record label. Like, but this is what I mean. Like, regardless of what you think it is or think it is, that's an opinion. Thinking something is not knowing something. On
exactly.
paper, I can go on Google or there can be documents that says that YSL is a record label. That's on paper, so that makes it real. It makes it a fact.
Yeah, man, dude. Like, no, seriously. Shout out to Young Thug, man. I hope that he gets out. Like, I wasn't too deep in his music and everything, but when I go deeper in just like in regards to just how he carried himself as a businessman and so on and so forth. Like, I know maybe the whole dress thing was kind of like a bit, but it's like for him to like change so many people's lives, as long as you're being positive, like that's the kind of stuff I really shoot for also in my lane. So it's like for someone else to kind of do that in their lane too, it's just like like that's kind of like that's like a blueprint for me. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, I
it's
feel
just
you.
like,
That's
yeah.
how I feel too. Cause I got my own team. I'm actually sitting right next to my producer Lou Stilo, and we're at my crib. He's making beats. He makes like most of my beats. If anybody hears this and need beats, you can hit him up at Lou Stilo on the gram and get some beats for good rates. But like I try to put my team in position to win, and if I win, I want them to win too. So maybe they can branch out, have their own team, and so on. You just pay it forward, you know. So I respect anybody who's doing that. I really looked up to Nipsey before he passed because he was another person doing that, and it's not for clout, it's not for this or for that. It's just because they really like that as a person.
Yeah, man. And it's just like, like Nipsey had knowledge of self too. Like he was Eritrean, right? Eritrean was the Ethiopian.
Yeah.
Something like that. He was East African and stuff of that
No,
nature.
no,
So
he is.
he's Eritrean?
I think that he's like he's from I don't know exactly what he is, but I know that he's African. I think it was like Egyptian or something like that. But yeah, he comes from like his ancestry, I believe, comes from like they're very like royal. It's a royal family
Yeah,
in a
like
sense.
like a little Haile Selassie type line and shit.
Yeah, like so that's why people always look at it and conspiracy theorists really go deep into it because Nipsey's story, the way that it aligned with like his ancestry and like who he became as a man, it seems like more than just like an argument. It almost seems like an assassination, you know. So that's why I would say as a rapper you got to be careful because yeah, these rappers are getting killed and it just seeming like random murders. But if a bunch of people go somewhere with the intent to rob you, and if you don't give them their stuff, they're gonna kill you. That's an assassination. It wasn't like you guys got into an altercation and he decided in that moment to do that. That was already predetermined.
Yeah, man. It's just, but history will probably how the media is gonna put history is like, oh yeah, these people just got shot. And,
Yeah, that's not how these things go.
yeah.
You know, and that's why that situation is so deep because Nipsey's mans did that. Like that was somebody that he grew up with that ended up killing him. So that's a personal thing. That's a vendetta from years and years of disagreements.
Yeah, man. No, seriously, no. That happens a little bit too often than people like to think about, man. That's why it's good to isolate yourself. But even if you isolate yourself from the people that used to shit on you or whatever, and go your own way and everything, like that jealousy, that whole like, oh dang, this person made it and I'm still here type, like they can't process it. It's like immaturity is such a big part of why a lot of like a lot of our black culture holds itself back. You know what I'm saying? It's just like because back in Africa, a lot of us had our own like way of passage into manhood. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like a lot of people, a lot of black men, especially when they grow past a certain age, they don't know what it defines to really be a man. Some people might say, okay, well, the first time they lost their virginity, or the first time they got their own house, or the first time they bought their own car, or stuff like that. It's just there's
Yeah, but just
yeah.
the answer to that question,
Yeah.
the way that the option that you gave, you could already see somebody's mentality. If somebody thinks that he's a man because he's sleeping with women, but another man thinks he's a man when he bought a house, you could tell that the man who thinks he's a man bought a house got a little more sense,
Yeah.
So
it
I would just
depends
ask
on
all
values.
those people. Yeah, exactly. It's about values. So I would ask all those people that feel like they're stuck in their situation, because I come from the hood, right? So everybody in the hood feel like they in the hood because of somebody else. You know what I'm saying? But really, they gotta look in the mirror, because I was in the hood and I'm not in the hood anymore, and I'm don't plan on going back. But like, people get so comfortable in their situations and they start to blame, oh, this didn't happen for me, or this person screwed me over, so that's why I'm still here. What that got to do with anything? You there because you want to be.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's just some people. That's another thing. Accountability. That's a huge thing. A lot of people don't seem to take for themselves. That's a reflection of immaturity when you can't take accountability for your own self and where you're at in life. That stuff that'll fuck you up because it'll pretty much repaint your reality to a complete illusion or delusion for yourself to think like, oh, like you're so much better, so much grandiose, and like everybody's out to get you, or oh, this didn't go out for you, or that you're entitled to this, entitlement. And then when you don't get what you want, it's like, it's like you're a child, when you take like, oh yeah, you put that toy down and everything, kids be kicking and screaming. It's kind of like that kind of like them to a certain degree and everything when they get to that stage when they can't accept a loss, they can't accept an L. Like, okay, let me just learn from this. Let me be able to rebrand myself and then move on. Some people just can't do that, bro. Like mentally, like they're just fucked up like that.
Even if you can't accept it, the key to everything, because some people, you're right, some people can accept it and they move on with life, and then they either become a success story or they become a regular person or whatever, but they're able to move on with their life. And some people, they let it like really sink them to wherever their bottom is. But to counter that, all you have to do is just work hard. Even if you can't get over something, you can still work hard. Just because you can't get over something, you can't work. I feel like people they try to make too much of like an excuse for themselves. Like, I'm going through this, so now I can't do this. Why can't I be going through something and still do this? Like, I have to be in the perfect mindset 24/7 to do anything. That doesn't make sense.
No, dead ass for real. It's just like, it's just like that shit just comes back to that lack of masculine like presence within like, like this era, man. It's just like, it's just in regard, we're all gonna go through adversity in life. Everybody. We're all going through something right now. Whether it's the next person knows it or not, we're all going through something. And it's just like, that's why it's good to like have purpose, man. Cause that purpose, that drive, that faith, that things could be different. That's what's going to drive someone to really making things different. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I look back at all the doubters, the haters, because everybody has them and everyone and everything. But it's just like at the same time, and I just be like, I just scoff at it now. I just laugh at it and move on because it's like the people I once said I was stupid and I was like, I can't do this, that. Now, like I graduated magna cum laude and everything. And then it's just like the people who said, like, oh, I can't rap or whatever. I dropped a mixtape, they ain't dropped shit and everything. And then it's like the people that say, oh, I'm gonna be a failure. I already started working at this company and everything. I'm head marketing executive. And like now I run a podcast and everything, just like, on the side type shit. It's just like there's just no excuse to not work hard. People will always talk shit. There's always shit that people are gonna go through, but you can't have excuses be the reflection of your identity in this life. You know what I mean? Like that's just bullshit. God gave you this life to make life for yourself. So when you're not making it, that's on you. That's literally on you, bro. Like there's no
exactly, because it's like even if
you still there? Damn, I hope he's still there. You still there though? What in the Matrix? Yo, dude. Can't hear nothing, Chief. Only got 3 minutes remaining.
if you're going through things.
Oh, sorry. I think you cut off for the past couple minutes. You can repeat that if you want. We still got like about 3 minutes, so it's like. You can hear me?
Yeah, I'm sorry, you cut off.
Oh snap! I cut off. You back on?
Yeah, I'm back on.
All right, cool. We only got about like 2 minutes left. I'm gonna just end this, and I'm gonna just make another meeting and everything in about the next like 4 or 5 minutes. Is that all right? We can just hop on,
Yeah,
finish the rest of this
that's
interview.
perfectly fine with me. That's perfectly fine with me.
All right, cool. All right, I got you. I'll see you in a moment.
All right. All right, I'm about to.
All right, now it's recording again, part two. So yeah, we're speaking about like a whole lot in regards to just how people kind of carry themselves in this society and everything. You pretty much remember where you left off on it?
Yeah, just like I just feel like people need to take accountability for their own actions. Stop blaming other people. I think that we all could be great. I think that we all could be successful. I'm starting to become on the verge of like achieving a lot of my goals.
Hey, yo, do. I think your volume's getting pretty low. What's up with your volume? I'm sorry.
Oh, my fault, my fault. I was just my phone was down. But I said, yeah, like I feel like people need to take accountability for their own actions because I think we all could be great. It's just on you and not to blame other people. I'm on the verge of like achieving a lot of the things I want, and I'm starting to see like it come to fruition. And that's all because I was focused on that. And I was in a lot of similar situations that a lot of people I know that think that they can't overcome. But I was in that situation, if not worse, and I did. So that just means that you don't want to overcome it. You use it as a crutch, you know.
Yeah, man, excuses are nothing but a crutch, like to me and everything. We all do it to a certain degree. Some do, some people don't do it at all, and everything. But don't rely on finding excuses. Basically, you can never get far from doing that, like at all.
Like I did a Rough Riders radio event yesterday, and I actually won. So I'm getting a distribution deal from that Rough Riders event that I did, and I've been working with more I would say industry people as of late. But that's because I put in the groundwork for them to recognize it. When we were talking earlier about play the season video, like that video is, you could tell like we really outside in the Bronx in that video. Like it's not, those are real people. Everybody lives in that area. Like it's not like actors or anything like that. It's just a real deal. You know.
That's good, man. That's really good, and like kudos to you for winning that event, man. They ain't something like just like slide by and everything. Tell us more about that experience and how you got on the whole Rough Riders radar and everything, and end up like performing for them and winning the whole contest and stuff of that nature.
Well, I got to shout out my guy Buddha the Bulldog and King Neptune because they actually know a family member of mine, and they've been actually consulting with Rough Riders Radio, and now they work alongside of one of the segments for Rough Riders Radio. And my cousin, he knows how much I've been getting active with my own situation, curating my own shows, performing all over New York, all over the boroughs. So when this opportunity came about, it was like, yo, it's gonna be in the Bronx. Just show up, do your thing. So I was like, okay, it's in the Bronx. I was living in the Bronx at the time. I'm from there. And fucking, I went, bodied it. They was like, yeah, you're going to the next round. So I was like, okay, cool, lit. And in between the time, it was like the whole contest, they go all over the United States. There's probably like 20 states, and they went to Puerto Rico. So they're finding talent from all over the place. So in that time, from when they met me to when we got to the actual event where all the finalists came, I was doing my own thing, grinding it out, not waiting on just this one thing. I could create more things, myself. That was the mentality. So by the time I started doing my own showcases, the Rough Riders people actually got wind of what I was doing, and they came to one of my events. They seen it in real time, and it was like, okay, this kid is doing something, because I had a great turnout. It was actually a really good event. Then when the event came up, the one from last night, I just went and did my thing again. I ended up winning. It's just a testament to always working on your craft. I go to shows all the time. I never assume that I'm just going to be the best performer. I worked on being a good performer, just like I worked on being a good artist. People don't really put the work behind their craft a lot of the times. It's just like they just want to wake up and do something because everybody's doing it. But you got to really understand that there's a lot of work that comes with that, and it's a whole lifestyle that comes with that. And you got to be ready for that. It's not just for anybody.
No, dead ass for real. All you said was facts. No, really, really. And that's good that you, instead of just seeing yourself, oh yeah, I'm just the best rapper ever. You want to work until you reach and make the accolades you gotta make and everything. And that's good, man. Like that whole consistency element, that work ethic element, that's gonna carry you a lot farther than like people just, that cloud shit or nothing, And you already got like a team down, like from what I'm understanding, right? So it's just like that's even gonna get you even farther for real and
Yeah,
everything
we got
like
our
this.
own
Yeah.
team. Everything is in house. So my brand is called Stays in Entertainment. I created that. That just basically means take the good with the bad and always try to stay even keeled through all your hardships. So that's what we pushing. We push positivity. It's not no super gangster street gang shit. It's all about spreading love and being positive and not getting too high or too low and just going with the flow of things. That's what we push. So that's my message with my brand. And then with the music, we just keeping it real, keeping it authentic, and keeping it New York.
That's good, man. That's really, really good that you're keeping it like that and stuff of that nature, like for real. Because I think you spoke about another song, like how it's like, it's just like, I think you referenced Takashi 69. I think I don't know what song it was, but it was
Yeah,
like he
yeah,
said
I
something like,
did. I
yeah.
did.
I was like, hey, he claimed he was like the king of New York, and that was kind of like a joke because he was like a snitch and stuff of that nature. Now, keep in mind, I'm not with that whole thug shit and everything about the whole like, oh, he is snitchy or whatever, because I'm not in that lifestyle to really like speak on shit like that or what comes with it and stuff of that nature. On his end, he was really just a guy trying to really like bring a whole lot of attention to his music, but he just went the wrong way with it. That's kind of how I see it, and then you end up fucking around with like a shitty crowd. That's just how I see it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the record you're talking about is New York Giant.
Yeah.
So that actually record, I'm not a cloud chick, but that record is a 6ix9ine disc. But I didn't like push it as a 6ix9ine disc. It doesn't nowhere in the song, like in description in the song title. I'm not saying it's a 6ix9ine disc because I'm not trying to drop music for plot. That's not what I do. I spoke on that because he claims to be something that he isn't. And if you're from New York, you would take offense to that because it's like being the captain of the Yankees. The captain of the Yankees before was Derek Jeter, and before that it was another legend, another legend. So by that I mean the king of New York before Tekashi was claiming that was Jay-Z, and before that it was Biggie Smalls, and before that it was Big Daddy Kane, and before that it was KRS-One. Like we can't just play around. Before that it was Rakim. Like we gotta pay respect to the level of of that. Like that's what we trying to be the king. You got to be that, and it was Pop Smoke. So like you got to do it with honor too. Like I feel like to run any city. You from North Carolina, right?
Yeah, Charlotte.
Yeah, you from Charlotte. So the baby's the hottest dude in your world right now, right? From your town. And
Yeah. Yeah.
and the reason why I like the baby, yeah, he gets into back and forth with the media as far as like the LGBT, whatever that situation that happened. But he has integrity. He cares about his family, takes care of his family, takes care of people around him. He tries to put people in position to become bosses themselves. And he's his own boss. So that's somebody, regardless of how he acts in certain ways that a lot of people don't like. I really don't give a shit because I'm from the hood and that's how people act from what I know. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, a lot of people fuck with the baby. I know a lot of people on the internet might not fuck with him, but it's like in Charlotte, he's cool with like
Yeah,
a
like
lot
that's
of
what, in
us.
real, that's what I'm saying. In real life, the real ones know that's a real truth right there. So in real life, I know that in New York, we not jacking 6ix9ine. Like right now, if I were to say who really is the king of New York at this very moment, that's something that I'm striving to be. So like I aspire to when I become at that level, that's what they would say about me. But I would give it to Fabio right now
Oh
because
yeah,
he's the
Fabio
most
Foreign.
consistent New York artist and he's getting all the accolades, all the industry features and plugins and stuff like that. So he's running the show for New York at that level. Before him, it was Pop Smoke. So I feel like he was saying that because he was getting the most clout. So that's why I spoke on that because my dad actually got deported because he was doing whatever he was doing. My mom actually sat down for a long period of time and I grew up without my parents because they was in jail, for doing whatever they was doing. So I grew up around that kind of environment. So you can't just play around with that because feel me, like people's whole lives change off that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's not just their lives, but just like their whole community too, because they got relatives and they got people to take care of also. And that's why I try to keep my nose clean, especially and everything. You know, that whole gangster stuff, thug stuff. I don't look down or look against it or anything, or I'm not so high above it or whatever. But I just feel like a lot of that stuff is just a trap. You know, that's just kind of how I see it and
It is.
everything. Because I feel like it's just something like the media tries to push and endorse. Just to get like more people put in prison. You know what I'm saying? Because they feel like that's the only way. You can
But I
make
think,
money so many different types of ways, dude. There are people who make money off NFTs. There are people who make money off buying damn Pokemon cards. You know, like there's money out here to be gotten.
yeah, yeah.
You just have to
But
have the mindset.
I think that they should have creative license as far as their music goes. Like the reason why hip hop in itself is very at this point is very super gangster, very street, is because hip hop started in a party culture. It started from DJing and parties off crates, and then it turned to entertainment, live performances. It escalated to the streets in the '80s with NWA and things like that, and what was happening in New York and the Bronx and in Brooklyn with the riots, even in Queens. So that's why it's always had a street element to it. That's not anything new. The difference is that in this generation, for some reason, they rapping about actual crimes that they're committing, which doesn't make sense to me. But
Yeah, that
that's
that
what they
got Bobby Shmurda fucked up and everything.
yeah,
You know.
that's what they're doing though. They're rapping about things that actually happen. Like I sometimes rap on in a trap cadence or in a trap song. I do a trap song, or I do a street song, and I stem from different experiences that I've had in my life or seen in my life, and I just draw a song out of that. But to rap about specific things that actually occurred that you know will get you time in jail is just ridiculous. It's like, is the clout really that worth it? It's not.
It's
That's why
really not. It's really
honestly,
not.
I could have been more up right now than I am in my current situation. I could have been more popping in my city if I did weird shit without like all these other weirdos. But that shit just not in my character. So I'm gonna try to do it the right way with integrity. And I think that I can Nipsey hustle this shit. And by the time I get there, just because I did it this way, they'll respect it more.
No, for real. Like, no, Nipsey also did it his own way and everything, and like a lot of people are inspired. Even Russ, I know it's Russ is another one that will still manage to do it and build some kind of leverage for him before he was able to sign
Listen,
some
Russ
type
is
of deal.
nice. I
Yeah,
just
no,
want to say that
seriously.
because everybody shits on him, and that nigga could rap. I just want to say that.
Yeah, no, and he really worked hard to get here. So it's like there's really no reason anybody should shit on him. They just don't like him because he's confident in himself and everything. I didn't when I first heard of Russ, it was years ago. I always tell this story and everything. Like it's like I heard him just a little bit. Oh yeah, he sounds pretty nice. And I started downloading some of his music off Dat Piff, like little songs, and it was just like, oh wow, okay, like yeah, this guy's all right and everything and everything. That was back when I had like the Lincoln. Yeah, that shit was nice. But it's just like I was working at Live Nation as a parking attendant, so sometimes you can be able to check in with different like concerts that come in. Like it's just like when I walked into a Russ concerts be packed. It
Yeah,
be
he always
packed.
sells
It's
out. That's the
crazy.
thing.
And I thought this guy was just starting. Like maybe it was like one of the new artists you had to keep an eye out for. This was back in I think this was 2017. 2017, summer 2017. I was 19 years old. I'm like, oh my gosh, this dude Russ really ain't nothing to sleep on. And it's just like, because you be having like your Logics, your this and that. I thought Russ was just gonna have like a couple people there. Dude had like, this is the Charlotte Credit Union, stadium. Like, dude had a whole lot of people out there, and it wasn't just like a certain demographic. It was like, yeah, white people, black people, Hispanic people, everybody was messing with Russ. So
And
I'm
that's
like,
that's
and
how
then
you
when
could
you,
tell
yeah,
when something's really hot because like that's why not to like keep talking about this one person, but that's why the Takashi thing when we were talking about that like he could look like he's the biggest artist in the city on Instagram because he got the most views and the most likes on Instagram and the most followers on Instagram. But in real life, are they playing your music in the clubs? Do the DJ even spin your song? Are people in the city even playing your song? I live in the city. The answer is no.
yeah, man, I know, no real shit, dude. It's just like, but back on Russ, man, even when you actually check out his videos and stuff of that nature, bro, like, he be putting people on game. So it's like when people hate on Russ, I just brush it off. Because like, it's always like the realest people that they be shitting on, like from Logic, Russ,
But you
Wale.
wanna know why? Because the industry wants you to sit on those people because Russ is kind of like an independent entity, same way that Tory Lanez, who is going through his debacle right now, coincidentally,
Mhm.
is independent. When you're an independent artist and you're actually a successful independent artist and you pack shows, like you said, Russ pack shows, that affects label heads because now you're creating a lane for more independent artists. You're making it popular, you're making it cool. So you become a problem. So that's why you start to see false narratives surround certain people because they don't want them to accept.
But that's all right. That's just kind of showing you like that's really just another blueprint too, because like I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina, so it's like a sense of nobody. There's a lot of people that live in Charlotte that aren't even from Charlotte. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people from Chicago, New York, especially. They just Florida. Those are Ohio. Those are the four main places where a lot of people be coming from. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like it's just you're having all types of personalities and whatnot mixed into the city mixed in with southern like hospitality, so it's just like people be acting like they know you when they really don't know you. So a lot of people be trying to spread out rumors, talk shit, make a bunch of dumb shit up, you know what I'm saying, just to get an higher out of you, you know what I mean? And so it's just like you got to build thick skin, like while I was growing up and everything, and going through these motions and stuff of that nature. I just realized it's just God trying to discipline me to really prepare me for everything that's coming later on in my life. That's just, you got to see it with, keep that mindset on that whatever you're going through, whatever struggle, adversity, it's just preparing you. Because you see how they treat people like Russ, like Logic, like Wale and everything. Logic, they'll clown Logic for talking about like, oh, he's biracial. Like, who cares? And everything. How do you criticize somebody for expressing themselves? Like, that was like an issue for him. Like, imagine looking like you're white and everything, and then like you can't even be able to like meshing with your own culture just because you look a certain way.
Yeah,
Like, it doesn't take away from him. Like, he had a black father, he's black. That's it. That's who he identifies with. He just wants to let y'all know because y'all see him as just a white boy and everything. Like, that could be crushing. Like, to
like
you,
yeah,
like, you're Dominican and you're Puerto Rican. You know who you are. And people
yeah,
look at you, they're gonna see that. Like, I'm Liberian, like I look like I'm Liberian. That's just what people see. You know? So it's like, like, imagine like you look like you are something, but you look like something entirely different, you know? And then it's
yeah,
like people hold that against you. People knowing how judgmental people can be, like, off surface level shit like that. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So it's
But
just
the industry is very like I was saying earlier with the wrestling, like they'll find any way to like knock you down. And even Logic, in a sense, Logic was an anomaly too, because Logic wasn't supposed to pop, but when he did, he was doing big numbers early, like streaming nobody was streaming like Drake, but he was streaming like almost like J. Cole early on in his career. He doesn't do that nowhere near anymore because people now did the whole popular thing now is Logic is corny. You know what I'm saying? So obviously his numbers would go down. But when Logic was hot, like in like what was it, like 2013,
like the 1-800 days and everything.
yeah, like when he first started, he was really selling 100,000 in his first week. Like Logic was really selling 100,000, and like I remember that. I remember thinking, damn, Logic is really selling as much as so and so. You know what I'm saying? So like I'm bringing that up again to say like when you really do it successfully and it's against the norm and against what they already implemented to be, you got to do it this way. If you do it another way and it works, they always try to shut you down because it needs to be their way. That's how they want it to
Yeah, they want you to be a slave and everything, and I get that's why X, I feel like, got a whole lot of flack too, because X signed with Epic and was more like a partnership type. Do you seen the X Tentacion documentary on Hulu, right?
be. Yeah, I fucks with X, and that's what I'm trying to do too. When we get to that level, I want to do a partnership deal with my Stays In brand partners with whatever. Just to use the example, so it'd be like Epic slash Stays In. So on my records, you will see at the bottom Epic and Stays In, not just Epic Records. You know.
Yeah, man, you always want to get your hands on as many things, so in regards to like what's copyright with your stuff and everything from merchandise, venues, stuff. You want to be able to get like as much profit, but be as comfortable as you can, and you don't want to be like stuck with something. I feel like that's where Logic is right now, like with the whole Vinyl Day stuff. Like they're releasing singles before you even
But
drop an
Logic is
album.
smart though, because he's doing terrible with the music as far as selling. But his merchandise that he does whenever the hell he drops merch, which is quite frequently, honestly, and his tours, because that white boy sells out crazy. I'm gonna let you know that right now.
He's not white though. He's biracial.
Yeah, but like
See?
I'm just that was like a joke based on like his complexion. But
Yeah, yeah, I know.
I'm saying that even though he goes through this slack with the he goes on about biracial, but he looks white, like that's like a very like popular comment in his comment section. You know what I mean? So even though he goes through that flag again on the internet, in real life, he's selling out stadiums. So he could still be richer than these rappers that's got like 30 million followers. But that shit means nothing. Logic is making more money.
Yeah, he has an actual following. He has a relationship with his fan base. You know, that's like Russ also and everything. Russ, Wale, XS they had like a real personal relationship with their fan base. And that's what helped their fan base even grow and grow and grow and grow even more and everything because they identify with them and stuff of that to that nature with like Logic and the mental health stuff. XS doing pretty much the same thing, but like differently in his own way. And then Russ fighting like for like people to really like wisen up about like trying to get as much money as they can and go as independent as they can. You know, like these are like pioneers to me to that degree because it's just like I don't want to have to like just worry about trying to get being enslaved by some label unfairly and everything, and then trying to fight off that, and then like you're in debt and stuff of that nature. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like you
I
just want.
totally agree.
It's like
That's
this
why
is this is something that you love. When there's something like that you love, you don't want to have a toxic relationship with your passion. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, you don't, because then you're not gonna enjoy it anymore. And that's why I'm so happy with me and my team. We've been able to make our own showcases, do our own performances, do our own videos, make our own music, and make our own clothing without the help of a machine. So by the time we do need help from a machine, really we just need distribution help. So it has to be a partnership because that's all they can offer. You know what I mean?
No, for real though. No, real shit, man. Like, and it's just like that's good that you're trying to keep it on like that end and everything. I definitely want to start my own independent label somewhere down the line too. You know, it's like and like how J. Cole's running like Dreamville Fest and everything. I feel like that's a good blueprint too in regards to how to raise your brand as a
Yeah, I
label.
just do
Also,
my first Stay Zen. I would call it. It's not the Stay Zen Fest, but I just do my first. I've done different events before, but this was like my first stamp for the brand, like my first brand event, and that was the one that the Rough Riders came to. And I do that one at the end of April. I'm gonna throw the second one in the end of August, beginning of September. So we're just gonna keep growing like that. And I got it now that I got this distribution deal that I got yesterday. I'm gonna use that to just kind of like build my music even more. But I still want to do the groundwork at the same time because if I lean on them, then they think I need them. If I need them, then it can't be a partnership because I need them.
no, seriously,
It doesn't need
real.
to be a necessity. It needs to be like I can do this for myself, and you know what my value is. So I bring value to you, and in exchange, I need you to do just this for me because I do everything else. And that way, it's an exchange.
Yeah, man, I feel that. I feel that very heavy and everything. In regards to like, like where you're at right now and like where you see yourself like 5 years from now, and I heard a whole lot of like you trying to build your brand and then you're trying to do like a whole lot of stuff like with that. But in regards to like where you see yourself like 4 or 5 years like from now, even 10 years and everything, like where can you pretty much like visualize yourself like pretty much until it's realized? Where do you visualize yourself until it's realized?
You asked me perfect. I have a five, and in 5 years, I see myself being a focal point in the music industry as far as like I'm one of the names that get thrown around a lot. And in
Mhm.
10 years, I see myself running my own label with my own artists underneath me. And now I'm trying to push them to excel and have outstanding careers when I sit back in more of an executive role. And then after that, I actually want to move into direction. Like I want to do movies rather than music. I would like to move into direction.
Yeah, man, I feel you can do it. Do you have any ideas for a movie and everything that you want to go into, or you just trying to
Yeah,
like maybe?
I have a biopic idea for a movie. That's like the first one I want to do, and then I have like a music one where it's about like a dude just trying to make it in music, which is different than my actual life story because the biopic is going to deal more with the trials and tribulations that I went through more than like his music is really going to be like a side story. It's really about all the hardships.
That's cool, man. No, that's real cool. Like seriously, I feel he can do it. I mean, if Ice Cube can freaking write Friday and everything, and like direct like Players Club and shit, I feel like a lot of artists, like, cause like we are actually really good writers too. Like we can go into being authors and like
And if you
actors and
think
stuff of that
about it,
nature. Yeah.
if you think about it, when you shoot a video, at least when I do a video with a videographer, I'm always I make a lot of my templates. So I'm always like, okay, this is what we're gonna do in this scene, and then we're gonna do this. That's directed, you know. So just like you said, like earlier when you were saying like I was getting the tools that I would use later on, I feel like music and entertainment industry intertwines with a lot of things in life, especially if you want to be in the movie industry following that. I feel like it's a very easy transition because a lot of the things that are happening in the music industry are happening in the movie industry as far as like how you got to move behind the scenes with the higher ups and people in power and shit like that.
No, seriously, like dead ass for real, man. It's just like especially with the conflict that we have to go through, a lot of the traumas that we had probably went through when we was younger and everything of that nature, for it to like kind of drive us to kind of like rediscover ourselves and our talents and pretty much drive us to kind of keep on improving and keep on improving and everything, that will lead to like pretty much touching other things like that nature. But like outside of music, what type of hobbies and interests might you have?
I'm not gonna lie. I'm really into sports. Growing up, I played basketball a lot. I do a lot of sports betting. I would have casino a lot, but I'm so focused on the music. I don't have any other hobbies. Well, I do. I'm not gonna lie. I do. I'm into sales, like but like at a high level, like business, like corporate level.
Mm.
That's something that really interests me. So like I could see myself also being like if I wasn't like a full-time rapper, I could see myself being like a serious businessman in like a corporate sales type of aspect, like suit and tie, briefcase kind of thing.
You should definitely consider it. No, like seriously, like that's why I went to school for business marketing and stuff of that nature. So like I said earlier, I'm like a marketing executive for like the business that I'm working with right now, and I'm really trying to work to see if like we can create our brand and went over time. I just introduced Excel, and I've also introduced Google Forms and everything to kind of help with our like business and our clients, kind of give us information on them pretty quickly. So it's just like, yeah, man, like this stuff, it's really just like a matter once you're like an idealist, bro, you can pretty much go anywhere, bro. Whether you want to go into business or want to go into like clothing, acting, stuff of that nature. It's really just a matter of just building the discipline to learn what you need to learn to really immerse yourself in those fields and stuff of that nature. But it's like if there are some artists that you would like to work with and everything, well, what are some artists that you wish that you could probably work with or that's on your bucket list to work with?
I would love to work with, but it's like certain type of songs. Like I would love to work with Drake on like he would do the hook and I would do the verses, and kind of like a player type of like player lover boy type song. And then I
Mm.
would like to do like a lyrical song with like J. Cole, where it's like who got the better verse in the song out of these two guys. Like literally just put your best pen to the paper and let's see who comes out on top type of song.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. I know you speak a whole lot about Jay-Z and everything, but what are your thoughts on like rapper Nas? Like, like that was one of his biggest adversaries growing up.
I think
Um,
Nas is amazing. The only reason why like I don't speak about Nas as much is because I really grew up being like a whole fanatic. Like I remember my mom would say this because before my mom went through her situation and she went away, um, she would tell me stories like when I was really little, like I would listen to like Blueprint and I would like do like remixes of like change the words around. So Jay-Z influenced me at such a young age that like I always picked him over Nas. But I've never ever thought Nas was trash. That dude is amazing. He is literally from his era. He's probably the only one comparable to Jay Z to me. And um, besides the people that died, because,
oh yeah, most definitely. No, Nas is definitely like one of the goats for real. Nas, like when it came to Illmatic, and Stillmatic, it was written and all that, man. Like those albums, them projects, like those are another like form of blueprint for real, man. Like
Yeah, I think that Nas, Biggie, and Jay Z. Um, I think Jay Z has a few classics. I think Nas has two, and I think Biggie's both his albums are classics. But Ready to Die in particular is Ready to Die. If people don't even realize this, is the reason that Good Kid, Mad City exists.
mm, yeah, man. I thought Kendrick was more like connected like with Tupac though, like in
No,
terms of
yeah, yeah, facts. But if you listen to Ready to Die, if
like.
anybody listening to this, take the time to listen to Ready to Die because I grew up on Ready to Die and I used to play it a lot when I was doing whatever I was doing. And fucking, you listen to the storytelling where it uses skits to basically flow through the album the same way Good Kid, Mad City uses the skits kind of as a theme through the album. Biggie Smalls was one of the first people in hip hop to execute that on a whole album level, not just in one song. But Ready to Die has the same storyline going throughout the whole album from beginning to end, just like Good Kid, Mad City. So that's why I say like Good Kid, Mad City wouldn't exist if Ready to Die didn't exist because it's heavily influenced as far as the skits and the way that the plot, the theme of it, you know.
Yeah, man, those skits, like, it really helps. It's another element of an album that can really, really help you, like, kind of immerse yourself into like the vibe of that very album, And it's
Yeah,
just like,
mainly on like cinematography because it's like, yo, I could really visualize what they're saying because it gives you an intermission to really like have a little movie playing in your head, like, oh shit, they're talking. Like I know one of the skits, it was like in the car about to like hit a lift, so they all just chit chatting in the car, and that makes you visualize that moment. So now, when you're listening to the album and all those rugged gangster moments come up, it just resonates even more.
yeah, no, seriously, seriously, and it's just like like the art, like, and it's just like with Reasonable Doubt, Ready to Die, Illmatic, what was Big L's one was the Lifestyles of the Poor and Dangerous, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah, and it's just like
Big L's that dude, man. Big L to me, if he didn't die, I don't think he would. I think Jay Z, regardless of who lived or who died, would be the best rapper of all time, and I think Biggie would be like right behind him. But Big L to me is the best lyricist that ever lived. I don't think anybody ever had just like the lines that we were talking about. Ask Beavis like in nothing but
yeah.
my time my parents haven't met yet, like shit like that. I don't think anybody was as slick with it as him.
No, seriously, they're definitely he's definitely like somebody like to study for if you want to really get more clever or creative in terms of how you set your lines and stuff of that nature. It's just like something about Big L. It just sucks. That's what sucks. That's like the tragic part about hip hop, man. It's just like really, we could all grow old and be happy, bro. Like 50 Cent and Ja Rule have been beefing forever, but they're still alive. Like,
Yeah, and
it's just like, and it's just mostly on some like teasing type, middle school type, social media type beef and everything. And it's just like, although like there was some seriousness about it, but they can all grow old. Like, it's just like there should be no reason why Tupac is dead and everything, and like Biggie Smalls didn't get to see his kids grow just over like some media bullshit. That's why I feel like it's more media type shit than I feel like it's real life stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's
yeah,
just
but
instigating.
that's every form of entertainment, even like basketball. Anytime you see like Kobe and Shaq, for example, that was all media driven. You know what I'm saying? So like the thing about being successful or famous or well known or having a lot of money is that people are just gonna hate on you because it's a popular thing to do. Because people don't like people who do things that to them seem not realistic. Like how you supposed to do it that way.
Like impossible, like they're
Yeah.
incapable of doing.
Like they're literally incapable of doing it, and because you are capable, it automatically makes them not like you.
No, seriously, no, dead ass. Like that's that effeminate shit we were speaking earlier, man. Like niggas be acting like bitches for no reason, bro. And it's really sad how like the world is like set up and everything. It's just like really, it's just like in this life, you only got one life to live. So if you want to go out there and do what you want to do to be happy, do it. That's my philosophy when it comes to a lot of this shit. Like life is too short, and you only get one, so you might as well make it count. Like make it one for the books. You know, I'm 24. I'm on the verge where I'm outliving. Like I'm about to outlive a lot of like my idols growing up, from Tupac to Big, and they did so much, up to the point where they passed. Like we still talking about them to this day. It is 2022. They didn't even touch the 2000s. Like
yeah, and that's the thing. Like even though they died young, they actually, if you look at what Biggie did in his time, he had 2 albums. I think Tupac had like 4 albums in that time and a couple of movies.
No,
So
Tupac had a lot more albums. Like I think it was like 7, maybe over that. I don't even know.
yeah,
It was a lot.
and that was in a short amount of time, and he had a few movies out too. So like the way that they attack their crafts and the way that they put their all into this shit is the reason why we're talking to them 20, 30 years later, because there's artists out now that's been out for years that still hasn't even had the same catalog as Pac or Tupac, as far as not even quality wise, but just amount of content. You know what I mean? These guys really were everywhere. I'm a New York guy, so I know that Biggie Smalls, not only was he dropping those albums, but he was on a feature run, something crazy. He was on every song that was hot in New York. Like if he was in New York and he was hot, he was on your song.
No, seriously, he had good marketing, man, for real. Like he knew how to market himself. But I feel like with Tupac and Big, they just represent like two reflections of the black spirit that people just weren't ready to, like the media, like the world just wasn't ready to like have exist. Like Biggie Smalls, like dark, heavier set, but he dressed well and he got many, many women and everything, just being confident in himself. And there was like he represented true confidence, which is something that black men just they didn't want us to see for too long, you know what I'm saying? And Tupac represented like you can be rugged, but you can be educated, you can be like self-aware to a certain degree. But it was like then they got all caught up with a lot of this earthly nonsense, and sadly it took them away. And
Yeah, but
that's
that's
the
also
tragedy of it.
because the sad thing about hip hop, but it's also the beautiful thing about hip hop is that it comes from inner cities for the most part. It comes from the trenches, or it comes from poverty. It comes from pain and poverty, right? So because it comes from them, even when these guys become successful and become rich, a lot of the times that mentality of I'm from the hood, or I can't let nobody bitch me, or I can't let nobody son me, or I gotta always be the bigger man. Nobody can ever try to play with me. Like it don't matter how rich and famous you get. If you think like that, you'll always think like that. And that's another thing that escalated that beef, is that as two grown men, we're over a misunderstanding. Really, all you need to do is have a real conversation. But neither of them were wanting to sit down and talk. So that turned into this he said she said type thing from West Coast to East Coast. So that's already too far of a distance. So now you're hearing shit come out the media on this side. Could be fabricated, could be the truth, who knows, but it sounds like shit talking. And you're hearing the same on this side. So now there's no communication between that. It just sounds like now niggas is beef. Who said that? The media.
Yeah, man. No, like seriously, man. It's very, very tragic. But we're getting close to like the end of this episode. We got like about 1 minute left, so it's like I'm gonna just about to close it and everything. With the Mental Thursday podcast. Thank you, Don Julio, for hopping on. This is a damn good episode for real, man. But that's it for the 76th episode. Do you got anything else you got to say under a minute?
Yeah, I got you. I just want to say I got a tape coming out July 10th on all streaming platforms, Apple Music, Spotify, all of that. It's called the Don Tape by Don Julio. You should look it up. It's 12 for 12, no misses. Stay zen, tapping with my brand. Follow me on the gram, Don Julio SZ. And I appreciate you for having me.
All right, thank you, man. I appreciate you too for hopping on. All right, that's it for the Mental Threads podcast. We're signing. Sorry, man. We're sewing in now. We're sewing out. That is it. All right. Thanks, Chief. I appreciate it. All right. Take care.
No
Good
problem.
night. All right.
Yeah,
All right.
good night.
Take care. All right.